People always want to know what the protocol was used, specifically in the case of my dad. What specific herbs did he use? What specific supplements? What specific diet? What specifics? And I completely understand that, but I can tell you for sure that that is the smaller piece of what actually changed the game for him. It is probably 80% mental and 80% resolve and a courage to go against what you're being told. And if you can't do that, it doesn't much matter what your protocol is or what you're doing for yourself, because you will, if you don't have that strength, you will give in to their fear. And there will be a lot of fear at the dialysis unit, at your doctor's appointments, from your family telling you that you are reckless and dangerous. Okay, so why does that matter? What does it matter if you need a strong mindset? Because you are going to be faced, if you have a bad week or a bad few weeks, or your numbers change or they dip, you're going to be told you need to come back in for dialysis. Or what if you get told you have a, quote, infection, okay, in the kidney? You're going to be told you need antibiotics. All of these things make it very hard for the body to recover, okay? And I'm not telling you what to do, but my dad had a very strong mindset at that time and place, in that time of his life, to where he was just rejecting things left and right because he really believed that he could recover and he wanted to give it a shot. A lot of people don't have that strength to say no to multiple doctors telling them they need X treatment. And it's the treatments themselves that really interfere with the recovery of the kidney itself, because you literally damage the tissue there and it becomes necrotic. And how do you heal something as you're damaging it? And I'll do a whole YouTube on this. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I'll just say right now what we did was very simple. My dad had zero money. We were waiting for a year for him to get on disability because he was a truck driver before then. And then whenever he went into the hospital and then later the ICU, obviously he couldn't work. And when he came out, he had to live with my mom. They're divorced. She took care of him even though all of that was going on. And she literally bought his groceries. So what did he do at that time? I think it was around $200 a month that I was buying him these supplements or these herbs at the time and some other things. Okay, I made sure he had clean, pure water for restoring kidneys. So I sent him a Pro Pure at the time. It's now called Pro One water filter. It's just a pitcher water filter. So he just put the tap water in there and had decent water. Later, then we moved over to another filter, same kind of pitcher setup. It was called Purely Filter. That's the one he still uses today. I still send him occasionally new filters just to make sure he still has good water. But it removes everything. It removes fluoride, chlorine, your VOCs, your metals, all that stuff, pharmaceuticals. It removes most of everything, so it's good. And it's inexpensive, and he can take it wherever he's going and use that. Diet-wise, he was on a whole foods, mostly carbohydrate diet. He was obese, he had a lot of weight to lose, and he was just shedding weight and just eating a bunch of fruit, lots of salads. He would send me photos of these, and he was doing smoothies every day. And then he was still, dabbling and eating some meat when he felt like he needed to. He was actually anemic at the time coming out of the ICU, so I had him eating a little bit of red meat, and all of that bounced back. He almost had to get a blood transfusion. He was at bottom of the barrel with that, but we avoided that. So if someone has excess body weight, they got to lose the body weight. They got to lose the visceral fat. They got to lose all that fat that's stored around their organs and just carrying excess weight. You got to lose that. So if that's part of your picture, you got to address that. And you can do that on any kind of dietary setup. You can do that on a high, like a carnivore-based type diet, or you can do it on a carbohydrate-rich diet. Doesn't matter. The whole point is just to eat real foods, whole foods, foods closest to nature, hopefully organic foods if you can afford them. Nowadays, the pricing isn't that much different in most locales. But I would say when it comes to the kidneys, eating lots of fruit, especially hydration-rich fruits, in my experience, has been really helpful, and it's very cleansing to the kidney tissue itself, because it's high hydration and mineral content, and that's really restorative. Okay, what else? Exercise-wise, when he got out of the ICU, what do they say? They say for every day you're in the ICU, it takes a month to recover. Not too far off. I mean, I think he recovered faster than that, but it took like a solid year to work up stamina and stuff again. So we had him walking every day, and at first he could just barely go to the end of the block, and then after that he was going around the block 2 times, and then he's sending me pictures of this every time. Or I remember one time he sent me a photo. He went up the stairs one day carrying laundry. He was so proud of himself. So it's a buildup. Now, most people watching this probably aren't coming out of the ICU with that, so they probably have an easier time. But walking every single day, especially in the sun, without fail is critical. My dad was up to like 4 or 5 miles each day, and he was doing that every day. And then the question everybody wants to know, what did he take? What herbs did we do? I did a lot of different things. I mostly used Dr. Robert Morse herbs, which I still use with people all the time. Highly recommend, great quality products. Okay, so I started him on Kidney 1 and 3, it's called. He now changed the names of these, but I think in his website he still refers to them previously known as Kidney 1, previously known as Kidney 2. These are little tinctures. They have capsules if you prefer. My dad was on the tinctures, so he was doing Kidney 1 and Kidney 3. Then when he would finish those bottles, I would send him Kidney 2 and Kidney 4. Okay, and we would just repeat that. Then I also had him on the circulation tincture. I had him on the heart tincture. At that time, I think I also had him on the bone and connective tissue, because that's really good for parathyroid and mineral status. And also I had him on MediClay, which was a binder, 100% bentonite clay binder from Premier Research Labs. I had him on that in the evening. I also did gut support just for a couple months, called GI Broom. This is like 6 capsules in the morning first thing. He did that for a couple months. That's also a Dr. Morse product. And I forgot to mention in the tinctures, I did have him on Dr. Morse has 4 lymphatic tinctures. I would just start him on Lymph 1. Once he finished that, we moved to Lymph 2, Lymph 3, Lymph 4. I mean, we did this for like a solid year. Along with the kidney tinctures and along with heart and circulation. So those were mostly his tinctures, and based on how quickly he went through them, we would rotate, like I said. I also had him on, in my opinion, one of the most important factors was a kidney tea tonic that I had him making from scratch. And the kidney tea recipe is in my kidney document that I just put up with my YouTube completely free, so you can just go and follow that recipe. Maybe I'll link it here, but it's just marshmallow root, gravel root, hydrangea root. You boil those herbs. You also use parsley, and you use cherry concentrate, which is really helpful to the kidneys. And he was drinking just like a half a cup. He was actually drinking quite a bit. He would send me that he was drinking like a cup or 2 a day. So you don't have to do that much. It's like 3/4 of a cup serving every day. And he did that for like a solid year. Just was always on that. And then one of the most important things to understand is you have to be flexible with the body's feedback. So coming out of the ICU and all these drugs that he was on, he started going through detox reactions. As I was saying, you got to really be flexible with how the body's signaling to you and talking to you in your unique case. So in his situation, he was going through detox expressions, which most modern people call sickness, right? He had full-blown, quote, pneumonia, and luckily he didn't go back into the ER or anything with that. I was actually in India at the time, and he was sending me messages saying, oh my God, I feel terrible. And this was just a few months after he got out of the ICU. So it's like, this is your body's trying to get rid of all of this stuff. His lungs were full, and that went on for like 3 weeks, I remember. And so we tried to support him through that. We did. He recovered, all without antibiotics. And then, that kind of situation happened a few times as his body was recovering and trying to express and dispose of all of that waste. And the last thing I'll say here is circling back to what I said about mindset. As you can see, as your body starts expressing things, and you're so used to thinking it's an infection, and you're so used to treating it, and you're so used to running to, the pharmaceutical machine to give you something to look at the baby. She very rarely comes in at this hour. She hears me talking. She normally stays out all day until like 7 o'clock. Yeah, when that stuff starts happening, we're so used to going to the quote experts to get us out of our symptoms, because what if it's dangerous, or pneumonia, or an infection that could spread. We're so used to that. But when you're trying to heal like really damaged organ tissue, every antibiotic you take matters. Every suppressive treatment or poisonous treatment you take matters. It's, in my opinion, literally life or death.